I think we are live. Let me just double check.
Cool.
I think we are. I gotta double check though.
So I have to behave now? This is what you're saying?
You have to behave, Nihan. All right. Wait, maybe
what I
step a little
say.
bit towards me. There we go. Now
Oh,
we're
yeah.
centered.
Right. I'm not in the
There
center.
we go. And it says Thomas Dimitrovich is live. Welcome to another Eaton Tech Talk. So we're continuing our discussion. We're here at the PCIC.
IEEE,
IEEE,
Industry
IAS.
Application Society.
So there's a good discussion right there. So it's IAS is the Industry
Industry
Application Society.
Which IEEE has multiple societies that focus on different technical topics. So we have
Right.
the power and energy, Industry Application Society, the microwave, communication, computer work. Our society, Tom and I are more involved with the Industry Application Society, IAS.
Right, IAS. So under IAS, there is the Petrochem.
Yeah, so IAS has 4 different departments. One of them is PID, Process Industry Department.
Process Industry Department.
And
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be the chair of that department as of January 1st, taking over.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Hopefully, going to keep doing the great work that everyone did before me. It's an amazing group of people. So under the industry application, so under the Process Industry Department, PID, we have multiple committees that are all under the Process Industry Department. One of them is PCIC, Petroleum and Chemical Industry. We have the Electric Safety Workshop, which Tom and I talked about yesterday, and it's been a highly recommended event to go to. Pulp and Paper, which you and I did a live.
Yeah, okay.
PPIC, we have the Cement Committee,
okay.
which something I haven't been to it, so I'm looking forward to attend it for the first time. Never been to a cement conference. And the Mining Committee, which they're meeting here as well.
Okay.
So there used to be like a separate committee. Now they're meeting at the PCIC, and we have the Metal Committee. I don't think hopefully I didn't forget anyone, but I think these are the they're all that process industry
Okay.
department committee.
Right. So, and the Electrical Safety Workshop stemmed out of PCIC.
Right. It's like a spin-off.
It was a spin-off from the PCIC because the petroleum industry was looking at safety, and I think Lanny and a few others years ago, I can't remember what year it started.
1992.
1992.
We just celebrated the 30th. You were the chair of East the 30th. I missed it. I was stuck across the bond. Yeah, I was stuck across the bond. But whatever. I was really hoping to make it, but I couldn't because of COVID travel restrictions.
Yeah, that's right.
So I missed the big 30th celebration you guys had.
That's right. Yeah. So they spun that off from the Petroleum Chemical Industry Committee, and they created the Electrical Safety Workshop, and then they created the Safety Committee, Electrical
Electric
Safety Committee.
Yeah.
And what's
ESAFE.
Right. Yes. And so all of that is you go out to IEEE's website and you can find all of this information and about all of the different events. But so here we are. I'm calling this day 3 of the PCIC, but really this is day 1.
We had the opening. And to your point, Tom, so before I forget, so each committee under the PID, under IS, under IEEE has its conference. So Electric Safety Committee is ESW, Electric Safety Workshop.
Right.
PCIC, Petroleum and Chemical Industry Committee has the PCIC conference.
Right.
And then we have Pulp and Paper Committee has the Pulp and Paper conference. So Cement Committee. So each committee has an annual conference that everybody meets to present technical papers. It's just a great opportunity to network, meet vendors, and
absolutely. And so where we're at right now is we're in the Eaton Hospitality Room, right behind us. So what we're going to have here is I think this is they're going to have some bison station over there. We're going to have a beer station over here, and then we have a person doing silhouettes. Yeah.
Tom knows I'm not allowed to eat. I'm like 25 pounds heavier than I should have.
We got to watch, but there are many hospitality rooms going on tonight, and we thought we would get this video before the hospitality rooms start up, because you definitely don't want to see us after the hospitality room.
And we have the PCIC conference social. So from 6 to 7:30, so I wanted to squeeze this in before. Everyone gets to go to a nice social for all conference PCIC attendees before branching off at 7:30 to go to different different vendors.
So let's talk about the events today. Started off this morning at around 8 o'clock.
7 was breakfast, but then technically started at 8.
7 is breakfast. 8 o'clock was the general session. The morning session is the general session. The afternoon session are your
5 tracks.
5 different tracks. So the morning session, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you saw there?
Yeah. So the morning session, we had the opening remarks. Jim Bowen, he's the PCIC Executive Committee Chair, kicked off the conference, started the conference, and it's, some of the, I guess, housekeeping items and things like, this is the plan and so forth. All of people here are veterans. It's interesting. I just found, I learned during lunch that you have 25% of the registrants are no attendees, first-time attendees.
25%.
Which is great.
That is awesome.
It is awesome, 25%. And we are, like close to 1,300, which is great.
1,300 registered?
Yeah, registered. And then this does include guests, this conference attendees. We have.
It does include guests?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't
It's like
include
200,
guests.
250 maybe for guests,
That's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, it is. And coming out of COVID, this is great.
Yeah.
And we're going back to our normal kind of numbers.
Yeah. Okay, so you had the introduction, right?
Introduction. Then the first paper was Lenny Floyd. And if you don't know Lenny Floyd, if you're into electric safety, you have to know Lenny Floyd.
Yeah,
He's one
that's
of
true.
the,
That's true.
I guess, the founding fathers, the gods, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And I thought his presentation was awesome. He talked about his journey, 50 years of electric safety. And he started off like back in the 80s when he was talking about, when there was no such thing as 70E, there was no OSHA requirement.
That's right. You didn't have
There was
1699.
nothing.
You didn't have a way to calculate incident energy or anything.
There was just like these guys kind of just built like if you're in electric safety, any standard document that you use these days was built by these guys, developed by Lenny and his mentors, who some of them are unfortunately not around anymore, and then Lenny and his crew. So it was just amazing. It was a story, his story, and how he got into
That's
electric
awesome.
safety. And he shared they said incident of his dad, an electrician working for DuPont, a big chemical company in the US. If you don't know DuPont, so I thought it was amazing. It's a story. It wasn't like there was no differential equations or integrations or all the technical stuff, but it was just the journey. And he talked about how ESW came, like Tom and I just mentioned, it was a spin-off from PCIC.
Right.
He started the thing back in, you talk about the call back in 1991 when PCIC reached us, we want to do something as part of PCIC, and it was his idea to let's just have a workshop dedicated to safety. And he talked about having 6 people at his presentation. Now we're ESW is 500 attendees.
Yeah, exactly.
From
And
6 people.
hopefully we'll get to 1,500
Hopefully,
for the
yeah.
electrical safety workshop
Keep
soon.
growing it.
Yes.
This was the first paper. The second
was-
paper was it's I think renewable energy. I missed that part.
Yeah, that was so. The second paper looked at connecting on the line side of the service, and they're going through an actual installation, which was really, I think it brings everything down to earth because now they're taking an actual installation, showing you what they're doing for that line side connection, and talking about putting energy back onto the grid and all the details associated with that.
And the
That
one
was a really
thing,
good paper.
like Tom brought a good point, should emphasize that PCIC and all the conferences that we have are practical. So it's
Yeah.
not like the academic kind of,
Yeah.
which nothing against academia.
But here's the thing: is you're not looking at third order differential equations.
Triple integration, surface water.
Exactly.
It's practical. Usually, especially with PCIC, when accept the papers, usually you have a vendor
Right.
and a co-authoring the paper with end user. So
Right.
you have let's say Eden in this case, they have a product, some kind of something that serves maybe the offer, and then they team up with someone from the petrochemical industry, since we're a PCIC conference or whatever the industry is,
Yep.
and then they have an application and they share their success story with everyone.
Exactly.
Because if you have a problem in your facility, I'm sure someone else out there has the same problem. So we share information, we grow together. Help each
Absolutely.
other.
I like that. And I think that was part of Lanny's message too,
Right.
of how what his journey was and how you leverage everybody around you. No, you don't get anything accomplished solo. Now, okay, so what I really afternoon.
liked what he said about switching our mentality from from compliance-based culture to risk-based
risk-based culture.
This
Yeah.
kind of hit home for me.
So the one of the afternoon presentations that I enjoyed was how to specify a motor with the smorgasbord of standards. Now, and the reason this one hit home for me was because I had a customer of mine who's replacing motors, right?
Yeah.
And so what I get is a picture of an old Westinghouse drive, okay?
Yeah.
And actually it was a reduced voltage starter, I believe. So you could tell that it started its life as something other than a low voltage starter. So the equipment was aged. It was it was just a challenge. And so his question was, I'm going to change this motor out to a different motor. What do I need to pick? What standards do I need to think about?
this be considered
and what are the
reconditioning?
codes required?
Reconditioning?
No, it's a new motor.
No motor? Okay, but I mean,
He's
yeah.
replacing the motor. Yeah, so he's taking the motor out. He's
So
putting a new
thinking,
motor in.
the NEC and all the reconditioning buzz that's happening.
It has nothing. Yeah, no. So he's just simply replacing a motor. And but now what his question was, can I use the existing drive? And then what motor do I purchase? Right. So and what seems like if I'm going to replace a circuit breaker or if I'm going to replace a fuse, you go by the catalog number and model number. When it comes to motors, there's a lot of more into it. And what was really interesting about this was from Donald Dunn,
Yeah.
Dennis Bowe,
He just
and
accepted his
Barry-
fellow.
Yeah, Donald.
Yeah, IEEE fellow today.
Yeah, Donald Dunn, Dennis Bowe, and Barry Wood. Donald Dunn is with W.S. Nelson. Dennis Bowe is a consultant, and then Barry Wood is with Chevron, retired. So they went through, which was really cool. They put a lot of information in here to help you understand all the different standards for motors. For example, IEEE 841. I'm just going to name a couple of them because you're going to have to get the paper to be able to really understand what we're talking about. 841, API 541, that's your special purpose and critical.
American Petroleum Institute, I think API stands
Yeah,
for. Yeah.
special purpose and critical significant cost of downtime when you have a motor going in an application that if it goes down, it's going to cost you a lot of money, which the petrochem industry, that's one of the things that they got to think about.
Billions of dollars, like for
Exactly.
just being down for 1 or 2 minutes.
So it's a critical motor. You got to go after an API 541 standard. He covered API 547. That's your off-the-shelf rigid shaft type of motors. API 546 was just focused on synchronous motors. So he went through all the different standards and obviously NEMA MG1, right? So then, can we mute that over there?
Sorry,
Hey, that's okay. I just don't want to get in trouble for broadcasting a game live on my YouTube channel.
It's like an audio.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're now eating sweet, like Tom said. So
Yeah.
setting up for
Everybody's
hopefully
getting set
7:30
up.
will be a.
Yep. All right. So you got thanks a lot. So then you got then he went through the standards, and then he went through the different all the parameters, right? The horsepower, the voltage, frequency. He went through the concept that if you're going to put that motor on a drive, you got to buy a motor that's built for a drive.
Yeah, not all motors are
Not all
compatible
motors.
with drives.
Exactly. And one of the issues that, which was also kind of cool for the paper, they gave examples where they bought the wrong motor. It wasn't built for a drive. They put it on a drive and the rotor overheated and they were failing. They had motors that were failing, and then they figured out, hey, let's talk to the manufacturer of the motor and find out if we got the wrong motor. So what I loved about this paper, to your point earlier, it's down to earth, it's real. They use good examples in real world examples, and they show you what you need to do and how. It sounds complicated, but if you follow the rules, if you engage with the right people, talk to the manufacturer, they'll help you pick the right motor for the application. And then for that job, for that project where they had to drive, the existing drive, you just can't just say, I'm going to buy another motor, stick it in there and see if it works. You've got to think about this replacement process as a system. And there's so many parameters.
I would guess, I unfortunately I couldn't attend this presentation, but I'm guessing there'll be like a checklist of things that you have to go through.
Yeah.
And this is Tom, what I really love about those events that you attend, it's not just because you can always read the paper. Like if you miss the conference, the paper will be online, you can download the paper, but it's just the networking and being able to talk to those experts, like we mentioned, Lanny, Donald Don, and Dennis.
Oh, yeah.
So we can, reach out to them and you're here, build a relationship with them. And then when you go back to your facility or your workplace, you can just pick up the phone and get their advice.
Exactly.
This is just
it's all about
priceless.
networking.
It's
That's why I love the IEEE meetings. You network with other contractors, electricians, inspectors, installers, and even other manufacturers. When you come to IEEE events, it's the same type of thing. You're just building relationships in different topics, in different areas that can complement. We don't know everything.
No one knows
And
everything.
I always say I'm only as as dumb as I'm only as weak from a knowledge perspective as the weakest person in my Rolodex.
Yeah, I think it's as you're only as strong as your weakest, not the weak as your weakest. I think it's
That's true.
You're only as strong as the weakest link or something. Yeah, so
I am the
it's like
weakest
a team,
link.
right? If you have like
I pity anybody who has me in their Rolodex.
Yeah, well, I
because
mean, it's like
forget about it.
I mean, it's just like a sports team. If you have like 5 elite players and then
right.
one not so good player, the team would be just as good as this not so good player.
Absolutely right. Now, the other thing they did in this paper was he showed the motor starting curves. He showed the how to look at the motor starting and torque and all that, because he had some examples of where the motor stalled and they couldn't get it up to speed. So it was a really good.
So it's all practical problems that I'm sure you'll be facing out there, and it doesn't have to be petrochem industry. You could be doing this in pulp and paper facility or
exactly right,
like automotive, whatever. Like, I mean, you have motors, right? If you have your facility has motors, you might face the same issues, right, that these guys were talking about.
Yep. And so there, and again, there were 5 tracks. That's the one I went to. We all went to the morning track, so that was great. Now tomorrow, let's talk really quick about tomorrow. We have
It kind of keeps.
what are my glasses? Oh, they're in my hand. All right. Yep. So strategies to increase energy efficiency of auxiliary aux loads.
And this is which track? So starting from
this is in
tomorrow,
the morning.
There'll be 5 tracks running in parallel.
So in the morning, 8:15 Mountain Time. Practical applications for essential generator monitoring and protection, incorrect transformer differential operation due to system grounding, case studies on ground fault protection of microgrid power systems with diverse power. That sounds like a cool one. Taking medium voltage motor control centers to new levels of safety. That ought to be
Might
cool
be an
too.
interesting one.
So you'll notice they have a safety track as well. So if you're you could elect just to say, I'm going to go to all the safety tracks, or you could look at the individual titles. There's nobody standing at the door saying you're not allowed in. You just go to whichever room you want to go to.
You get to pick any 5. The only problem is we have 5 tracks. So if you have 2 papers you're interested in running at the same time, you just have to pick one.
You got to pick one. Yeah, exactly. And then, but you have the papers for all of them.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then you can always network with the authors and get their opinion, right?
Here's another good one. Specifying battery storage solutions for industrial facilities. And what's kind of cool, when you get into specifying, that's a whole nother area of flexing your knowledge, because you have to try to figure out how do you write a specification, and what are all the key parameters that you need to think about to meet the needs of your application. So that's tomorrow. And then what? There's tomorrow morning. That's all tomorrow morning.
We have the subcommittee meetings.
Oh, that's right.
This is something we should cover.
Yeah. So these are subcommittee meetings. So
remember, each track is sponsored by a subcommittee, like the safety subcommittee or a refinery subcommittee or transportation. We talked about this.
Yeah,
right?
and some of them overlap. Like there's the standards subcommittee meeting. There's a chemical subcommittee meeting. Electrochem and ET emerging technologies. International subcommittee meeting. Marine subcommittee, mining, because you said the mining.
Showing this is the first time they joined PCIC, and I heard that they've been really happy about it. Like they have a good turnout.
Oh my gosh, for 1,500 people. Jeez, give me a break. Refining subcommittee, transport. Now, who can go to these meetings?
Anyone.
Anybody can go to anybody, any of the
attendees. Anyone can go. So you have this like fancy name tag. If Tom has one, I have one.
I got one. I only got one ribbon. He's more important than I am.
No, I'm not. It's just.
Yep. And then and then they list all of the hospitality rooms down at the bottom, and where they're at.
Right. So hospitality is always after 5, like after the conclusion of the conference. So we do the technical kind of business meetings, presentations, so forth, and then after 5, vendors welcome or our corporate supporters. I like to call them corporate supporters because they're supporting our conference. This year I was in charge of hospitality suites. I still am until Wednesday. I was kind of working with all the corporate supporters, including Eaton, of course, to make sure that they get the room and all the things that they needed from, just to run their suite.
Yep. All right. So that's sort of what happened today, and I got the booth duty logo. I got the booth duty logo because I'm in the. I mean, technically, this is a big Eaton booth, right, guys?
We have
this is like a big Eaton booth. Yeah.
So let's come online if you want.
Hey, you want to go live? You just come on over and say hi.
Like a team of very knowledgeable people.
Yeah,
very knowledgeable people. So I should get out of
these are Eaton people.
Because these guys know what they're talking about. I don't know what they're talking about.
So, Rod, what do you do?
I'm the industrial sales manager in Calgary,
Calgary,
I'm
Canada.
from Saskatoon.
Saskatoon. Look at this. Wait a second.
So here you go.
Wait,
And there's another Canadian one.
we got another Canadian over here. Come on over, Greg. Yeah, so Greg, you are an application engineer.
Correct.
And I know you probably don't want to share any titles or details, but Greg's got a paper in for next year,
Absolutely.
and it is going to be, this is rock star material. So you've got to sign up for next year's program and get down to, where's it going to be? New Orleans?
New Orleans. Yeah.
New Orleans, right?
Nice
So
place to visit. It's
Yes.
really cool. I'm
Yes.
looking forward to it.
Great place.
it's absolutely a great place. So Canada, you're out of where?
Calgary.
Calgary, Canada, and you again?
Calgary.
Oh, that's right, Calgary. And he's out of
Saskatoon.
Saskatoon.
Yeah,
And then,
years.
and you're out of Canada too.
Yeah. And
Edmonton or
Edmonton.
Edmonton, yeah.
That's right, Edmonton. That's right. So we have.
And where are you from, Tom? I don't think you fit here. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
I know.
That's a Canadian thing.
That's the Canadian
We're in
thing.
Denver, but I mean, it's Canadian. Canadians took over. I'm sorry.
That's exactly right.
On another conference.
I'm surrounded. I'm surrounded. Yeah. So,
Like
but-
he's a good guy. He's all
yeah, yeah. So you're in sales.
Correct.
You're technically, I mean, you're somewhat sales, but you're an application engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, in my opinion, the application engineer position at Eaton is the best job. I'm sorry, but it's the best job.
Oh, the second.
best job.
Oh, the second. I'm wearing two hats.
You're wearing two hats.
I'm an AE plus.
Oh wow!
manager.
You have the best job then. Oh wow!
Both worlds.
You have both worlds. Yeah. And what's cool about it, so from an Eaton perspective, an application engineer is a little sales savvy,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And also very technical. So you help customers make sure they get the right products for the job. In which is interesting because the motor. Did you guys go to the motor discussion on how to select a motor?
Yep.
And one of the things that he kept saying was all of the instances where they made mistakes was he says then we called the motor manufacturer who helped us pick the right motor. And if we made motors, that would be guys like you
Yeah.
and girls, right? So
Yeah, definitely. We typically, as AEs, we work on the front end design, where it's still a concept, and start putting all the pieces together for the customer, helping them out to choose the right products, right materials, and then once the design is done, customer is happy, Eaton is happy.
everybody's happy. Absolutely. That's our goal. I mean, if you think about it. Yeah, you want to avoid, like, so what I really liked about the motor presentation, where they went through those examples that did not succeed, and then they told you what you need, what they did to fix it. And many times it's, you got to call the right person to get the expertise on the job, so you know exactly what you need to do, and then everybody's happy, but you do that up front and get people like you and crew, and
We have that many times where the customer
Yeah.
chooses the wrong application, the wrong product for the wrong application. So
I know before you guys joined us, Tom and I were talking about how important those meetings are because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's no need to, right? So this like the paper, this example
Right.
that Tom is sharing, these guys went through the whole process, right? So
True.
if you are, I'm sure someone out there would have to go through the same thing.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go through make all the same mistakes, get all the motors that don't fit for drives and burn them and cost money.
Yeah.
So this is like, hey, free knowledge for you, right?
share the best practices. This is the
This is what
knowledge,
IEEE and
definitely.
IS is all about.
yeah, and so you got to get out to next year's in New Orleans and watch this big guy up on stage, and hopefully we get him in the general session where there's like 1,500 people in the audience.
Okay, so I have a question.
That's the
Is
plan.
the paper accepted or is still going through the vote process?
Still going through the vote
Yeah,
process.
because here's the thing.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we talked about the subcommittee meeting. So whatever subcommittee you'll be assigned to, which will be determined tomorrow, we go to the subcommittee meetings and then the members vote. So what happens is each subcommittee, let's say, gets 10 papers, but they only need 5 or 6 for next year. So the attendees, members of the subcommittee would vote. It's like, yeah, we like this paper, we want this topic, this topic, this topic. And based on like the ranking or the votes, then they pick which paper. So good luck tomorrow.
Yes, good luck.
I was asking because sometimes you have like carryover from this year.
Yeah.
Because technically, let's say, I think we need 54 for a PCIC conference. Usually they accept 56. just in case if an
Somebody
author
failed, yeah.
like couldn't make it or sick or whatever. So the two that were accepted this year, that they like the standby one, would get automatically presented, published next year. They're guaranteed. So they have two spots because they were going to carry over. So I was wondering if yours is a carryover,
No.
will be voted on.
So it's going to be voted.
Gonna be
on.
voted
yeah,
on.
well, good luck.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well,
Get-
you
get
know what
all
I'll
your
do is
friends to
I'll
vote.
get my
Get all your friends
pom
to
poms
vote.
and I'll be your
I put it
cheerleader.
for the general program for the
Yeah.
big crowd, but we'll see.
Yeah. So the thing
Now
is,
let
if
me
you,
ask you, if you're not picked, like say you go in for, you want to be in the general program and they don't pick you for that, do they still have an opportunity to say, well,
they
we're
are
going to
signing
put you
to a
on a
subcommittee.
track?
So let's say we have 100,
Yeah.
and they have the first cut is, let's say they need 80. So everyone wants to go to a general, for example, they get whatever 5, 6 general, and then whoever papers don't get to the general, they assign them to safety. If it's a safety paper, for example,
Right.
that was applied, like the authors applied for the general session.
Okay.
They send it to safety, or they send it to transportation, or I had the same thing for my previous papers. I'm not presenting this year, but previously I had the same thing. So yeah, so you always, and sometimes you just go for safety if you think you're
Yeah,
better
yeah.
fit for safety paper or drives or whatever the case may be.
So if they vote tomorrow and they say, well, you know, Greg, you didn't make the cut.
Like for the general.
For the general.
For the general,
Yeah,
but
so
it
they
can
will
be
send you
assigned
to a
a
subcommittee for another vote.
Right.
Because if you go to general,
Who has
you're
to
accepted
initiate?
automatically.
Who initiates? Like who would say, let's put this in for safety?
It's based on the
It's
application.
the author. You
So,
would
so the
decide.
author
Yeah.
would have
The
to
author
do that.
will decide.
Yeah, when you submit your
based on the
abstract, which I
application.
think the deadline was sometime in September, early September, end of August, because this is for next year.
Yeah.
So you do this work this year for next year's conference.
Right.
So the papers being presented this year, the authors did this work a year ago.
Wow.
Yeah, it takes a year. You know, submit an abstract, pick the subcommittee.
September 1st, so
Yeah, I think September 1st was the deadline. So if you miss the deadline for the 2023, so September 1st, 2022 is the deadline for 2023
2023,
presentation.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now you have another year to submit your idea, but it will be presented, if accepted, in 2024, which will be in Orlando, another nice city.
Oh, 2024 is in Orlando. So you got a lot
2025
of
is
great
in Dallas.
information.
Yeah,
You know
Orlando
it's
and
going to be in
Dallas.
New Orleans next year and Orlando the year after that. And you said Dallas, Dallas, Texas?
Yeah.
Dallas, Texas, the one after that.
I
So,
can't remember what else, but I know we're going to Atlanta. We'll be going to, yeah, I can't remember.
so
but
if
I
you
know
can't get travel, if you can't fly, then you can at least say, hey, I live in Dallas. I'm going to wait for that one and join that one. But I would not miss this guy on stage.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
I'm telling
wait
you.
and just I mean it is worth it. I'll just
Yeah,
say that it is
absolutely,
worth it to be
absolutely.
to attend and make contacts and network. And
Absolutely.
just like this is how Tom and I met.
Yeah.
I think it was PCIC in San Francisco, first time, 2014.
2014, that was a
First
while
time we
ago.
ever met.
Yeah.
I was presenting, and then you were like the product manager for GFC.
Yeah, he was
right?
presenting on a topic, then I went up and I said, I don't like what you were talking
Like
about.
this guy doesn't know anything. What are you talking about?
I said, I don't know if I like that. And we argued, and then
Yeah.
we became friends. That's most of my friends I have are because we started out in a disagreement, in a debate, and either, you know, one of us was right, one of us was wrong, but sometimes we're both saying the same thing, but two different ways.
True.
You know, and then you realize, oh, wow, you know, let's go grab dinner, you know, and you have dinner, and then all of a sudden you find out things you like, you know, in common.
And usually
then
dinner includes some booze. I don't drink.
he doesn't drink.
He doesn't
yeah.
drink for me.
So I have to, when he drinks, when we do get something, I have to drink two, one for him.
You know what? Every time I go someone like you're just double dipping because like
Yeah.
one for you, one for me.
Yeah, the bartender says, why are you having two drinks? I was like, well, he doesn't drink. So. And I don't like to drink a lot.
And we don't want to kind of short the business, right? Like
That's
they're
right.
expecting two people to drink, so usually I get. I was told before that I'm a cheap date because
Yes.
when I go out, I'll just buy your meal. You're cheap. No alcohol. As long as you feed me. Okay.
Yep. So, well, I don't. Hopefully, so tomorrow we'll go live again. I don't know where we'll find a spot somewhere.
We'll try to
And,
change it up, right? So this time was Ethan. Maybe we just do another.
We'll go
Yesterday
out,
we did. a
We'll go out in
meeting.
the hallway and see if we get anybody to
Yeah.
like we
Yeah.
steered these two.
Yeah,
they're
we
Canadians.
Canadians. They were sitting over there. Come on.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Show your pretty face. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm on board. Like Tom and I
right.
are doing this. So,
That's right.
That's
So.
not fresh faces.
All right. Well, that was what happened today. We're going to have a great evening, and tomorrow is more technical papers, more talking, and
More social events.
and more social events. So we will see all of you tomorrow, and stay safe,
Stay healthy.
stay healthy. That's right.
Yeah, this is like the Tom's ending.
Yeah, yeah.
For 2 years.
You know what's funny is my wife will sit upstairs and she'll say, you know, you ended that 3 times. Just like we just did. I just ended it and we're talking
It's just
again.
so much fun. You don't want to leave people. Like, we're enjoying it. Hopefully you
right.
guys enjoy it when you watch it, because now it's what, 7:30? No, 8:30 Eastern. 7:30. Sorry, 7:30 Eastern time.
Yep. All right.
So,
Take care, stay safe, and please stay healthy. And we're going to get the end screen first.
guess we forgot to check the chat. But
Yeah, no, I've been watching, so me ending. All right, see ya. And then I mute.